yang kali rupa sharirana dharata, 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 tam raja prema mahanidhi kudarika, tam raja prema mahanidhi kudarika, कौन का पतन उगादा तो, कौन का पतन ओ yang kali rupa sharirana dharata, yang kali rupa sharirana dharata, o nirakshiraham shara papa vidhayana, ko nirakshiraham shara papa vidhayana, kaun prite kori payata, kaun prite kori payata, को सब त्याजी भजी वृंदावन, ओ को सब ग्रंथ विराचिता, को सब ओ yang kali rupa sharirana dharata, yang kali rupa sharirana dharata, जब पेत वन पुना पलत नवेगा, मनोराजी अरविंद, सोमत करा बिनु पन को जानता, विद्यमान करी बंद, को जानता मथुरा वृंदावन, को को जानता ब्रजनीता, को जानता राधा माधव राती, को जानता सोई प्रीता, ओ yang kali rupa sharirana dharata, कलिरूप शरीर न धारत जाकर चरण प्रसादे सकल जन गाय गोवाई सुख पाता चरण कमले शरणागत माधो ओ तव महिमा उरलागत अयं कलिरूप शरीर न धारत पतंग प्रेम महानिधि कुतरिका कौन कपातयो घादत ओ कौन कपातयो घादत यं कलिरूप शरीर न धारत अयं कलिरूप शरीर न धारत जय रूपा गोस्वामी प्रभु रूपा गोस्वामी रूपा गोस्वामी प्रभु रूपा गोस्वामी जय रूपा गोस्वामी प्रभु रूपा गोस्वामी रूपा गोस्वामी प्रभु रूपा गोस्वामी जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल गौर हरि निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल गौर हरि I go to Premanande, Srila Rupa Goswami ki jai, Sat Goswami ki jai, Tabiatiro Bhav Maha Mahotsav ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Guru Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. So, the Santa Guru asked me to share some Hari-katha, but I wasn't really prepared, so I'm probably gonna read and just anything comes to mind. Thank you. Does it need to be on like this?
Yeah. We can record and not post later.
Okay. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Vandeham Shri Guruvaram Shri Rupanuga Pravaram Brajarasarakam Cha Narayanam Tam Prapanam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Rama Hare Hare. First of all, I am just offering my heartfelt Puspanjali at the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev, remembering him and praying that he bestows his mercy on me and everyone, that this very, very deep moods of this time, this very special time, can somehow touch my very dry heart, which doesn't have any real realization, and that something can become not just theoretical, or that something can touch the heart, and that someday by Gurudev's mercy we'll actually have real living connection with all these personalities. In fact, usually when these days come, I am very sentimental because Rupa Goswami reminds me of Gurudev. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, these personalities, because Gurudev had so much love, so much relationship with them. And so really it reminds me of him. But also he wanted all of us to have real connection, real relationship with these different personalities. So offering my pranam at his lotus feet, at the Samadhi Mandir of Rupa Goswami, the beautiful timeless image of Rupa Goswami's Samadhi Mandir at Radha Damodar. They say that by circumambulating Radha Damodar, and that 4 times, it's like the benefit of doing all the parikrama. And also offering my pranam to the whole Guru Parampara, all the Vaishnavas, and all of my sisters. Thank you for encouraging me to share something by being here. And it's very purifying and good for me. So yeah, I was just thinking about what a special thing, I grew up in ISKCON, and I grew up not really hearing much about being a Rupa Nuga Vaishnav. I didn't really know much about that at all. I'd go to the temple, make garlands, do some seva. But from the single moment that I met beautiful Gurudev, he just emanated love for Rupa Goswami. And when someone loves someone so much, and you love that person, you can't help but wonder what they're seeing, what they're experiencing, what they're connecting to. So it was like, even though all these personalities were so far from us, Srila Gurudev had a way of making them seem very, very close. And what an amazing thing that the person that we know knows that person. So he always tried to give us a little bit of sambandha. And one of the ways that he did that, and the ways that they're all connected deeply through loving relationship, also through Guru Tattva, is by constantly emphasizing in almost every class, he would say, what is the real glory of Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj? And he would have different people stand up and speak. But for me, being Srila Prabhupada's granddaughter, literally, he named my mother at her birth, so for me it was Prabhupada was probably my first word, but I never really knew anything deep about him and his glories. And coming to Gurudev really was showing what is the real glory of Srila Prabhupada. It's not that he came and opened so many temples and wrote so many books and did so many, amazing things, which he did. But his real glory was that he was a Rupanuga Vaishnava, that he had this deep, loving relationship with Srila Rupa Goswami. And he emphasized that he was very much in this mood. Otherwise, like Vasanta Prabhu was saying yesterday, people would still be so much confused about who Srila Prabhupada really is. And we can see that, out of all the places in Vrindavan that Srila Prabhupada could have been, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada gave him the impossible mission of bringing this here for all of us. It was inconceivable what he was being asked to do, and it didn't happen right away. Guru gives an instruction, and sometimes it's just like a seed that he plants in our hearts, and you water it through your sadhana and through your prayers and your tears, and then gradually, just like a creeper of bhakti, the realization of oh, this is why he gave me this instruction, or this is what he's saying, gradually comes. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada was standing in an assembly of thousands and thousands of people during the Navadvip Parikrama, and one gentleman was standing kind of on the side, and at that time our Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who was at that time Abhay Charanaravinda, he was standing on the side, and all the assembly of stalwart preachers and sannyasis were standing in front. And at that time, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, his eyes just gazed through the whole audience, and he said, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, my father, he had one request, and my mother, she ordered me to fulfill this manobishtam, this heart's desire of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and that is that one day people from all over the world will come together and they'll sing and they'll dance, regardless of where they come from and what their culture is, their language. Everyone will come together and they'll chant under the umbrella of Mahaprabhu Sankirtan. And so he scanned the audience, and then this one gentleman who was standing right by Abhay Charanaravinda saw that he went and looked all the way to his side. And at first he thought he was looking at him, but then he realized that actually he was looking at our Srila Prabhupada, and he said, I predict that the next one who will cross over the sea to preach the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will bring back the entire world. And that was his planting that seed and seeing that. And then what did our Prabhupada do? He went to Rupa Goswami's Samadhi. That's where he prayed. And so in some ways I like to think that it was Rupa Goswami that conceived all of this and all of us. Like what Vasanta Prabhu was saying, giving that sweet benediction. May Chaitanya Mahaprabhu be resplendent in the core of your heart. So Srila Prabhupada was there, and I think it was Nayananda Das Babaji, or the neighboring Vaishnav to Radha Damodar, saw in the middle of the night that he heard the sound of loud, just calling out from the core of his heart, weeping and crying. And it was our Srila Prabhupada sweeping the courtyard of Rupa Goswami's Samadhi, calling out, Ha Rupa, Ha Sanatan, give me your mercy, give me your mercy. How will I do this impossible task? How will I do this impossible task? Give me your mercy. Crying and sweeping the courtyard of Rupa Goswami's Samadhi, begging and praying from the core of his heart. So this is Srila Rupa Goswami's mercy to all of us, that he empowered and gave so much. I mean, of course, Srila Prabhupada is eternally serving him, eternally connected to him. But also, Srila Prabhupada is, and all of our Gaudiya Guru Varga, they're never alone. They're always connected to that stream of transcendental personalities, and when we know one, then we know all. You know, it's like connecting to Gurudev was the most amazing thing. I had never heard of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. I'd never heard of Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj. I'd never heard of Bhakti Dayita Madhav Maharaj, of any of these personalities. And then I met Gurudev, and then it was like all of their appearance days, all their disappearance days, having the opportunity to hear about their glorious service, their mood, their love, and so what an amazing thing that's where Srila Prabhupada chose to spend 6 years, and that's also where Gurudev would come and visit him, and Gurudev would Gurudev roll or cook? I don't remember. I think he would cook the chapatis. And I think Srila Prabhupada would roll the chapatis. Anyways, so they would discuss so many beautiful pastimes. Gurudev would go into his room, and for many, many hours they would be speaking sweet Hari-katha and probably conceiving of this whole moment, birthing all of this into existence. And Srila Prabhupada would, ask everyone to come with him. He would ask the milkman to come with him. He would ask everyone to come, and no one came. He just came on his own, but with the deep faith and deep surrender to Srila Rupa Goswami. And he would always sing this too. He would always sing Sad Goswami Astakam Bande Rupa Sanatana. Gurudev would say, when he would come to Badger and he would speak on Upadeshamrita, he would always speak from Upadeshamrita, and Gurudev would get choked up, especially when he would remember the 9th verse, Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sakirtananu Smritya Kramena Rasana Manasini Yoja Tishtan Braje Tadaruragi Jananugami Kalam Naid Kila Rasam Upadeshasaram, that this is the essence of all advice, to always be engaged 24 hours a day in hearing and remembering the sweet pastimes of Krishna, his name, his form, his qualities, and pastimes in the anugatya of those ragatmik bhaktas who have that real loving sambandha. So Gurudev would remember this, and he would cry and get choked up, and he would remember how Srila Prabhupada had this mood, and he even published a whole book on it, Gauravani Pracharine. What is the real innermost desire and mood of Srila Prabhupada? This topic would come up almost every class when he was in the West. He would ask, why have I come? For this, to give this mood. So, yeah, it was really beautiful to think that, it's like when Srila Prabhupada came here, he was taking that role as the Acharya, very strong like a lion, and in these like limousines and wearing silk and like just so, he was in that mode, but like in his heart, these personalities are just like so simple and so sweet, and so going door to door begging Madhukari and Braj, asking the milkman to come with him to America, like everything. When I went to New York last time, I did the walk from the little apartment where Srila Prabhupada was staying, and he got robbed. Someone broke through his window, and they might have even like had a gun. Like it was a really scary, really sketchy place. And the window was completely broken, and it was ice cold, like snow in New York, so freezing cold. And he would walk miles every single day to get to a place where he could take a shower, use a shower, and cook something. Like he would do that walk in the ice cold, and I did that walk, and I was exhausted after doing the walk. And he would do that every single day. He was completely alone. And then we went to the Matchless Gift Shop where it all began, where he would cook with his own hands and serve everyone prasadam. And to think this is Rupa Goswami's gift to all of us. We may not be able to connect to him yet, but like we were hearing yesterday, he's the pran, he's the life force. And he is like, Gurudev would describe how Vyas is like the center point of the circle. From whichever way you try to cross, you have to cross through Vyas. So that mood, which mood is in Rupa Goswami, which no one was able to reveal. Gurudev was saying, even Jayadev Goswami and other poets, they had hesitancy to write certain things. Like Jayadev had hesitancy to write that Krishna wanted to bow at the feet of Srimati Radhika. He couldn't, he was becoming disturbed. How can I write these things? Because Krishna is Parabrahma. So he had to go and, go to the river to bathe, and during that time Krishna disguised himself and came and finished the verse, Smaragarala Kandanam. He says, but Rupa Goswami had no hesitancy. He wrote everything in this ashtakam that we sing every day. He's revealing everything. He has no hesitancy to say how Krishna falls at the feet of Srimati Radhika and how he's begging for her seva. So we are aspiring for that mood, and mood is such a fine thing. It's so subtle and deep, and Gurudev would always say that the love of Srimati Radhika is so tall, like a mountain. Krishna couldn't understand anything of it. He's in mystery and awe of it. So mood is such a refined and subtle thing. You can't touch it or feel it or like conceive of it. Like music, music is like that too. It's like if you're trying to hit a note or find a note. I know, like with me, with my teacher, there's like the note, but then there's all of the different like microtones, and if you go even slightly on the flat or on the sharp, it changes the vibration of the note, the power of the note. And in fact, there was even a story of this great music teacher who he was singing one of the seven saptasur, one of the seven notes, and he sang the note in such a way that he said, "Oh, this means that very soon I'm going to leave this world, because this ga, sare ga, this ga doesn't exist in this realm." And he left his body within like a month. Like he was tapping into a frequency that was beyond. So if it's like that with a note, then what is it like with mood, with prem? That's why prem, we can't, it's like at a certain point you'll just leave. The body can't contain that kind of ecstasy. So it's such a subtle thing. Such a subtle thing. And we see that with Gopakumar, how he's going through all the different layers, all the different places, but he's not quenched. His thirst is not quenched. So that thirst must be in all of our hearts and all of our souls. Otherwise, why would we come to this line? We've come to this line because something within us is longing for that love and that relationship with Krishna, with Radharani. Otherwise, there's so many different paths and they all take you somewhere. But somehow we've been drawn and we're hankering for that mood. So let's see what Gurudev has to say. Srila Rupa Goswami. The Mercy of Srila Rupa Goswami. This is given in 1998 at Sanatan Gaudiya. And Gurudev established Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Math. Beautiful murti of Srila Rupa Goswami, right by Seva Kunj. So he says, in Shri Krishna's pastime, Sri Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari, a very special maidservant of Srimati Radhika. Rupa Manjari is always serving Srimati Radhika, and she is always on her side. If Krishna orders her to do something, she will not be afraid to disobey. And by disobeying, she will be pleasing to Krishna. Among all the maidservants of Radhika, including Rati Manjari and Lavanga Manjari, the most prominent, Ananga Manjari, the younger sister of Radhika, is her bosom friend. This reminds me of a story I once heard. I was telling it the other day. Who was here when I was telling them the Manjari story the other day about the new Manjari? Were any of you guys there? So I think I was telling you about it, maybe? Yeah. So Vishaka Didi, who is a very dear daughter, of Srila Gurudev, she told this story once, that in Braj, first you have to take birth from the womb of a gopi in this world. First we have to go through everything, through Mahaprabhu Lila, and finally taking birth in one of the pastime places where Krishna is performing pastimes in this world. And Prabhuji also talks about that, about Katyanivra, and shedding all the different layers of our ahankar and false ego and coming to the platform of pure bhakti. So she tells this pastime of this really small little baby new Manjari, and she's born in some one universe where Krishna is having his lila. And when any new little baby girl is born in Braj, then the Manjaris and the Gopis, they start to nurture the mood of being a maidservant of Srimati Radhika from the time of that Manjari's birth. So they do it very slowly. They do it by giving Srimati Radhika sweet rice and her remnants. They bring it to that Manjari and they start slowly feeding her and telling that baby, can you say Radhe Radhe? Like that, and they start teaching her slowly as she grows. And finally, when she reaches to be about, how old are the Manjaris? About 9, 10, small. When she comes of age, she's been trained her whole life with this mood, exclusive, loving devotion to Srimati Radharani. So finally, when she reaches the proper age, then it's her first day of seva. And they give her service. That her service is to pick flowers and make garlands for Srimati Ji. So they warn her. They say, listen, when Krishna comes to find out that there's a new beautiful Manjari who's picking these flowers and making a garland, he'll definitely approach you and he will definitely try to steal that mala. So you have to be very, very careful. If you come across any person who's sham colored, don't look, don't speak, close your eyes, close your mouth, don't smell, stay as far away as you possibly can, because he will try to disturb your mood. So be very careful. So that Manjari, being very young and is her first day. So she's going, she's picking flowers, and she's singing Govinda Damu, she's singing and remembering, singing about the pastimes of Radha Krishna. Actually, I've heard from Vaishnavas that this is our line, Kirtan line. The Manjaris, they're always singing. In Rasalila, they're also singing. I thought, what do the Manjaris do when Krishna's dancing with the gopis for the entire night of Lord Brahma? That's a very long time. And Vaishnavas said to me, oh, they're the ones doing all the kirtan. So that's our line all the way, is kirtan, singing. So anyways, she's going and she's picking beautiful flowers and she's meditating and she's singing very sweetly. And she sits down under a tree, and then as she's very lovingly making this garland, she sees two black feet on the ground. And they're shining so beautifully. Krishna's lotus feet, black, sweet toe rings and beautiful markings. And beautiful, soft, like it's described in Bhakti Rasayan, like fresh bananas. Soft, beautiful Krishna's lotus feet. Who can resist? Who can resist, right? And she's looking and she's, what to do? Her heart's beating so fast. What do I do? She starts panting and freaking out. I can't look at him. If I look at him, I'll faint. If I look at him, who can look at the beauty of Krishna? So, and then Krishna's tapping his foot. Oh no. Says, I'm here. You called me, and I'm here. I'm waiting. Don't be shy. I'm the Prince of Braj. This is my Vrindavan. So I've come to collect my garland. Just give it to me. So she's, what to do? They warned her, this will definitely happen. You have to outsmart Krishna. You have to be very careful and very clever. Otherwise, he'll just catch you. So she's waiting, and he's like, come on, I know this garland is for me. There's no need to be shy. Come on, I'm here. And she's looking, and this beautiful fragrance is coming from Krishna's lotus feet, and darshan of his lotus feet. She doesn't look up. She's just looking down, not looking up. Can you imagine if she looks up and sees Krishna's eyes, his face? So she says, okay, yes, you're very right. I've made this for you. But actually it's not proper, for me to, without any shyness, to just put this garland on you. So please just close your eyes, and I will stand up and I will give you the garland. But I'm very shy and I'm just a young girl. Please just close your eyes. So Krishna says, okay. He closes his eyes. And she just picks up the garland and runs as fast as she can, and runs through all the assembly of manjaris, right to up, and she just falls in the lap of Srimati Radhika, crying and crying and crying. Srimati Radhika says, why are you crying? Why are you? What happened? And she's panting. And then Krishna came, and I was sitting under this tree, and then I saw his lotus feet, and they smelled so fragrant, and I didn't know what to do, and they were so beautiful. So I told him to close his eyes, and then I just ran, and she was panting, and Srimati Radhika said, so he's my beloved, he's the Prince of Vrindavan, why didn't you give it to him? She said, never. I'll give it in the hands of Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari. They'll give to Lalita Sakhi, and if they wish, they can throw it on the ground. Even if it doesn't reach you, I have to give it to them. And then, if it reaches you, then this is my greatest fortune. And if you give that garland to Krishna, then my life will be successful. I have no other desire. So that mood, that natural love, that's the mood of Srila Rupa Goswami. Everything that Srimati Radhika is experiencing, that special mood of she is ours. She is ours. She's very soft. Radharani is so soft, so soft-hearted, so soft-hearted, much more than Krishna. Because again, Krishna's love is divided here and there. So in Krishna's pastimes, Rupa Goswami, because Rupa Manjari is the prominent maidservant of Srimati Radhika and always lives with her, she knows some things that are unknown even to the closest Sakhis of Radhika, namely Lalita, Vishaka, Tungavidya. By her causeless mercy, she came in the form of Rupa Goswami, the associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All the associates of Krishna act as if they are dumb when it comes to expressing themselves about their loving exchanges. They relish Krishna's pastimes, but they cannot tell anything of their experience. Radhika also will not tell anything about how she meets with Krishna. Sometimes in the early morning, Shyamala visits Srimati Radhika and asks, I want to hear something from you. I want to take bath in hearing your Krishna Katha. I want to hear how you met with Krishna. Srimati Radhika replies, I don't remember. I went there, I saw him, and I fainted, and I don't remember anything else that happened. It's all ever fresh and ever new. If Chandravali asks what happened, Radhika's Sakhis tell the opposite of what happened. They will not reveal what incidents actually took place. Whenever they are asked this question, they all act as if dumb. Neither Lalita nor Vishaka nor any of the other Sakhis will tell. And even Krishna will not tell. They will relish the pastimes, but they will not tell. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Na prema gandosti darapi me haro krandami sobhagya varam prakasitam vamsi vilas ananan lokanam vina bibhrami yat prana patana gakan bitha. Chaitanya Charitamrita. My dear friends, I have not the slightest tinge of prema within my heart. When you see me crying in separation, I am just falsely exhibiting a demonstration of my great fortune. Indeed, not seeing the beautiful face of Krishna playing his flute, I continue to live my life just like an insect without purpose. Mahaprabhu said, I have not a cent of that prema. In this way, he also acts as if dumb. In Roy Ramananda's conversation with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ramananda Roy, who was Vishaka in Krishna's pastimes, barely told anything. He was simply replying to Mahaprabhu's questions one after another. In Mahaprabhu's instructions to Srila Sanatana Goswami, what did he tell? He did not say anything about the confidential pastimes of Radha Krishna, nor did he reveal how the gopis served them. What has Mahaprabhu told in his instructions to Rupa Goswami and Rupa Shiksha? He told next to nothing regarding Radha Krishna's pastimes. And finally, he ordered Rupa Goswami to reveal all that he himself could not. This is very significant too, because you see that Rupa Goswami hardly spent time with Mahaprabhu, with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he had the key to his heart. He had the lock and key. And this really shows that it's not about how much, you can be so close physically to the Vaishnava and you can just see outside. Or like some Brijabasis in Vrindavan, like Gurudev would say, not living by body, but by mind and heart. If you're living in Vrindavan, but you're not able to see the Dham because you're so covered, then are you really staying there? So, it's like you can have so much association with Srila Gurudev or Srila Prabhupada or the pure devotee, but if you don't understand their mood, their heart, then that's the missing fruit, the real thing. Gurudev would always say, try to understand my mood. Try to understand my mood. That's why he gave such rasik Hari-katha, even though it was so above our understanding, because he wanted us to understand his mood, his heart. So what has Mahaprabhu told in his instructions to Rupa Goswami and Rupa Shiksha? He told next to nothing regarding Radha Krishna's pastimes. And finally, he ordered Rupa Goswami to reveal all that he himself could not. Even Rupa Madhuri could not tell. Only Rupa Goswami could tell. And he tells everything. Srila Rupa Goswami is very intelligent and very expert. He explains how in the form of Rupa Madhuri, he personally served Srimati Radhika in Krishna's pastimes. For example, he sees that Srimati Radhika has appointed him in the form of Rupa Madhuri. Oh, my dear Sakhi, please stand at the door of the Kunja and do not allow anyone to come to me, especially that black person, Krishna. He should not come to me. He might come to me disguised as a girl. His cowherd friend Subala is so expert that he may disguise him as an enchanting gopi. If that happens, you should know that that is him. Srila Rupa Goswami is saying, Srimati Radhika has told me to do this, and now I am standing guard at the door of her kunj. When Krishna comes in the disguise of any girl, I will chastise him because of his misbehavior towards Radhika, and not allow him to enter. When will such a day ever come to me that I may perform that service? He tells us what he has seen. In the form of Rupa Madhuri, he is serving Krishna and Srimati Radhika. He is obeying the orders of Srimati Radhika and stopping Krishna from entering her kunj. He is seeing how Krishna, being so much pleased, is begging her to be allowed entrance into Radhika's kunj, and in placing his head at her own lotus feet to attain her mercy. So Krishna is placing his head at Rupa Madhuri's lotus feet. Srila Rupa Goswami is very clever. He has written all his prayers, although he is not already experiencing the fruit of those prayers. Although he has actually experienced his personal services to Radhika, he is writing prayers as if he has never experienced any of it for us. What he felt in the form of Rupa Madhuri, he has shared very cleverly with us by means of his prayers. So he's saying, Ha Devika Kubaragad Gadaya Devacha, I am bereft of, my heart is so full of anarthas, I humbly implore you, I'm falling to the ground with a choked voice. When? He's already attained that, but he's saying when? Why? It's for us, so that we can pray when. This is Gurudev would say this is the most powerful prayer for us, is when, oh when. When, oh when. When, oh when. This mood of longing, of praying deeply from our heart. We're so fortunate that we have access to these songs, that we don't know how to pray. But Srila Rupa Goswami has taught us how to pray in such a beautiful way. Right? Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande. He says, I don't have even a drop of devotion. I don't have even a drop of bhakti. Gurudev says, this is the barometer of bhakti is humility. Humility is the real measurement of how much devotion we have. Srimati Radhika is the most humble. Even though she has the most devotion, she always feels the most bereft. She always feels more and more and more. And that's the real jewel-like nature. You actually feel it, not just, we hear about it, but very difficult to actually feel that. And therefore we have these prayers, right? I've gotten chastised from Vaishnavas before. They've said, stop singing because you like the sound of your own voice. Go deeper. Try to sing more from your heart. Try to really sing try to feel it. do you feel it? They've asked me, do you feel it? No, I don't. It's really beyond me. But it's like you just keep praying, keep singing. And then one day, like, actually, it's all there. Like all the bhajans have something. Like we can relate actually to the different. We can't relate, but we can, because we take shelter of the prayers, and then we make them one with our heart, and slowly they become like friends. You know, that's why we learn. Why do we learn these shlokas and study Vaishnava Siddhanta? Because we need it. It's like medicine. We need to be able to draw upon these verses from Bhagavad Gita. We need to be able to, like, when we're in the thick and the battle of life, and we're struggling with our mind and our senses, like, it's like a medicine to have access, to have the Divya Gyan, to not have to see things through the limited perspective of the mind. Like Vasanta Prabhu was so beautifully saying yesterday, the different layers of the mind always tricking us. So we have the chance to see things. As Shamarani Didi says to me, get philosophical about it. Why don't you just get a little, when I'm like, but I feel like this, and this is what I feel. And she's like, no, you are not your feelings. You're not. Not that there's not, a lot of times what we think we feel is just our mind playing tricks on us, but it's just a wave. It's just a temporary wave. So she says, get philosophical about it. Know how to know when your mind is like taking you on a ride, and take shelter in the prayers. And Rupa Goswami has given everything. He started like the most important thing. This, in Upadeshamrita, all the instructions are there in Upadeshamrita from the start to finish. Gurudev would always speak on Vachovekam. Try. Slowly, Vachovekam, Manasakrodhavekam. But not easy to tolerate, to control the urges of the mind and the senses. But it first comes just from trying to tolerate them. I like what Prabhuji says about, bribing your mind, giving some bribe. Okay, chant 16 rounds and I'm giving you lemon water. Chanting more, then I'm giving you rasgulla. Disciplining the mind to do things that are good. Because we know, like, even practically speaking, like with material life, like, I know I feel good when I exercise, but I still don't do it. But when I do it, it feels so good, And I think that that's how it is with Harinam too. Is like we can't taste yet. We have this jaundice. We don't have that. Gurudev said, I want all my disciples to reach the stage of ruchi by the end of this life. To have I see the Prabhupada disciples, they've been chanting every single day since they got initiated, not missing one day, chanting 16 rounds. Someone said to Gurudev, why do you love them so much? Even more than your own disciples. He said, they've been chanting for 16 rounds for 30 years with not a drop of taste. How can I not love them? So much nishta they have in their Gurudev, relentless, trying. Not that you have, like what Vasanta Prabhu was saying, like not that you guilt yourself or shame yourself or anything like that, but that like you take joy in knowing that the medicine is nourishing, you have faith that the medicine is very nurturing. So, yeah, Vacho Vegam Manasa Krodha Vegam. Do you all know that verse? The first verse of Upadeshamrita? Maybe we could learn it together one day. It's very powerful about, Vacho first, the speech. Vacho Vegam, Manasa, the mind. Krodha, anger. Jiva, the desire of the tongue. The belly. And the genitals, all these senses. Learning to engage them in Krishna Seva. Yukta Vairagya, learning to engage them in Krishna Seva. It's very beautiful. We don't have to control them. We don't have to do crazy tapasya like they did in previous times, standing on the tips of their toes for thousands of years. We just have to learn how to engage them. So, Gurudev says, while uttering these verses, Vrindavane viharato ihakeli kunje Mata Dvipa Pravarakotu Kavi Pramena Sandarshayasya Yuvayor Vadanar Vinda Tandam Videhi Maidevi Kripam Prasita. So he says, Rupa Goswami teaches us how to pray. When will that time come? Oh dear Srimati Radhika, you are very merciful, so merciful. Please sprinkle your mercy on me. When uttering this verse, we should weep. We should not chant this verse just like a parrot would chant it, but we should sit alone weeping with a melted heart so that Srimati Radhika's heart will melt. If our heart is not melted at the time of this prayer, then the heart of Srimati Radhika, Mahaprabhu, and Krishna will not melt for us. If they see that we have so many worldly desires, they will not be merciful. Therefore, we must be one-pointed, thinking, I want Srimati Radhika's service. Tave vasmi, najivami tvayavina. Iti vigyaya radhe tvam nayamam charanantike. Oh Radhe, I cannot live without you. So be merciful to me. If you are not merciful to me, I cannot remain alive. I will die at once. And certainly he must die. Srimati Radhika will not reveal herself to one who does not have the feeling that he is actually dying without her mercy. She will look to see this. Is he really feeling that without me he will die? Or is he only saying this? There should be that sense of mindness towards Srimati Radhika. Then the mercy of Gurudev. Through the mercy of Gurudev, we can attain a little fraction of her mercy. If we desire so many worldly things, then Srimati Radhika, Gurudev, and Vaishnavas will not hear our prayers. When we only want Radhika's mercy, then they will hear and they will give their mercy. So I asked one Vaishnav, how can I develop this feeling of desire to serve Radharani when I've never seen her? I can't relate. I don't know her. I've never seen her. I've never been with her. I've been separated since time immemorial. Help me out here. How? And he said, it's very simple. You just have to believe that she's in your heart and that she's hearing you all the time. It starts with it's faith. It's just faith. How can I connect with Gurudev? Like, you all haven't physically seen Srila Gurudev with your eyes, but I feel that he really deeply loves each and every one of you, and that he's come to bring you to his mood and into his heart, and that he has each and every one of you in his pocket. That's what he used to say. I've taken your heart and put it in my pocket. That's what he would say. So I think that you all are in his heart. And I think that how do we connect when we haven't physically seen a Vaishnava or someone like Srila Gurudev? And that is the process of bhajan. That's the process. Like, imagine Srinivas. Srinivas' story is so heart-wrenching. He came to find Mahaprabhu had just left, like moments. And slowly, they all left. All of Mahaprabhu's associates, one by one, left. And that's when he wrote this Jayani Lo Prema Dana Karuna Prachur, because he was dying in separation. But the separation is how to do bhajan in separation. The first step is the belief that they can hear. The belief that when you speak to them, when you call out their names, when you try to connect to them, the belief that they're listening. The talking to them in the silent moments of like the dark night of your soul or the happy moments or whatever, like actually talking to Srila Gurudev, actually saying like, I'm talking to you. I know you can hear me. I'm talking to you when I'm chanting Harinam. I'm sitting at your lotus feet. I'm looking into your beautiful blue eyes. And I'm here, I'm sitting at your feet and having that mood that you're sitting at Gurudev's lotus feet, you're sitting at, the feet of the Vaishnavas, Prabhuji, whoever you want to pray to, really, having a mood that you're sitting there and that it's a living connection. It's a living connection. They're very much present, very much hearing our prayers. So that's the first step. Gurudev said that is the first step of doing bhajan in separation. To believe that this personality loves me very much and they will never leave me. As soon as you believe that, then you can start having a dialogue. If you don't believe that, then there's no dialogue. There's just some metaphysical idea of someone. But there's no relationship unless you believe that they can hear you. And then he said to Vishaka Didi, who he was giving these instructions to, he said, he had everyone take out their beads and chant one round together. And he said, when you sit to chant Harinam, you should think that you are sitting with me and I'm sitting with you. And together we are chanting in this way. One in one, heart in heart, we're sitting together and chanting. And he says, and then Guru and Vaishnavas, they'll start to come to you when you chant Harinam, and they'll start to give you instructions. They'll actually come to you and start instructing you. Imagine you're chanting Harinam and praying, and that person actually appears before you and starts giving you instructions. Very powerful. I haven't experienced that yet, by the way. This is all just like hearsay. It's all theory to me. I'm not, by any ways, I haven't experienced it, but they've said that this is the process. One Vaishnava told me one time, Gurudev said, should have a little closet, a little teeny space. Nobody should know where it is. Somewhere very secret. space and every day. Ha Gurudev, Ha Gurudev, Ha Gurudev, 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 Ha Gurudev, Ha Gurudev, Ha Gurudev. Maybe at first you won't feel it, but eventually you'll cry, calling out. That's what Rupa Goswami showed. He Radhe, He Brajadevike, Jalalite, He Nandasano Kaho, where are you? Raghunath Das Goswami, where are you? Day and night, falling, fainting under one tree, every single night a different tree, different fruits, just simple, sitting in the dust of Vrindavan. We wouldn't have access to any of these places without Srila Rupa Goswami. He revealed all these places. The Goswamis uncovered all the places in Braj. They uncovered all the deities of Braj. We wouldn't know where anything was. That was like what Mahaprabhu told them to do, to go and find these beautiful places and reveal them. And there's like magical portals, isn't it? Going to Tirkadamba, sitting in the dust there. I think when you sit in the dust of Braj, then you can really, for me, whenever I sit in the dust, that's when I can really like, wow, the Goswamis were here in this dust. It's really like a rare thing to come across that Brajaraj, that dust, you know, the dust of Braj. When I was a little girl, it was everywhere. It was just like you walk on the parikrama path, there's no concrete, just dust and peacocks and parrots. That was Vrindavan. Now it's becoming more covered. But yeah, that mood of longing, of prayer, that's all we can do is just pray. Pray, try to make our prayers a little bit more sincere, and I've found that even though Gurudev is saying here about, oh, they won't hear, I've found that even when your prayer is a little sincere, a little, just a little bit, and you're trying, you know, to connect with your heart, they're listening. So, yeah, that's the mood, that's the beautiful mood that Gurudev is saying, that let's try to sing these prayers from the core of our hearts so that their hearts melt. These are the prayers of Rupa Goswami, who is very skillfully teaching us how to be a true Rupanuga Vaishnava, and how they can gradually develop in bhakti, absorb themselves in the pastimes of Radha Krishna, and enter those pastimes. When all these prayers are offered continuously without a desire for anything, for our body or our mind, not desiring even Vaikuntha, only endeavoring for the service of Radhika, then this is called Rupanuga Bhajan. We should try to follow Rupa Goswami just as our previous acharyas have done. All of our acharyas, Raghunath Das Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Krishnas Kaviraj, Narottam Das, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, down to Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and his followers are all Rupanuga. We must know the meaning of Rupanuga. Those who have a taste and agree to serve Srimati Radhika, only Radhika, they are Rupanuga. And they can understand something of the mercy of Rupa Goswami, without which one cannot know his glory. We can know something of his glory by the mercy of Raghunath Das Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Narottam Das, down to Srila Prabhupada and our Gurudev. It is incumbent upon us to understand how his mercy is attained and to understand the extent of our debt to him. If we have no taste, no greed for this, then we will not be able to understand. Therefore, we should try to associate with Rasik Vaishnavas, those who have these elevated moods in relation to Srimati Radhika, and then we can advance in our bhakti. Try to follow Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrita. Those who do not read and follow this cannot understand him. Then, after understanding the following Upadeshamrita, We should read and understand and follow Manashiksha. Then we can know something about his glory and his mercy. So Gurudev said, Shikshashtakam, Upadeshamrita, Manashiksha. He wanted all his disciples to meditate on these shlokas. In fact, he told me personally to every day while I chant my Harinam to meditate on the verses of Shikshashtakam. These verses are very helpful, very nourishing, nurturing to our bhakti. Now it's kind of just like being a parrot. There's nothing real has happened in my heart yet, but Vaishnavas have also said that if you chant and you try to meditate on the meaning of the shlokas, even if it's dry remembrance at first, it still counts as kirtanam and smaranam. So you're getting the benefit. Otherwise, if you don't engage the mind, then the mind will just take you here and there, what you have to do after you chant, where, future and past. Mostly we're dwelling in the future and past. So meditating on the shlokas while we chant, that is what kind of brings us into the present moment. So we're so fortunate that Srila Gurudev has given us this beautiful treasure of his heart and these beautiful prayers, so many prayers. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande, Jaya Jaya Sundara. Because otherwise, if you chant Harinam, Mahamantra, so many of your desires can come. He said, I remember one time I asked Prabhuji if I could have a Giriraj. He said, if I give you Giriraj, then many Girirajas coming your near. He said, all your desires will be fulfilled. Giriraj will fulfill all your material desires. He said, if I give you Gurudev, then you'll be protected from all your desires. So he said, just take shelter of Gurudev, and then you'll always be guided. So in the same way, these prayers are, if we're only singing Mahamantra, then all of our desires and our prayers are coming. But we learn how to pray. Rupa Goswami is teaching us how to pray. He didn't have to say when, oh when. But he's teaching us how to say when, oh when. This is the most, Krishna said, this is the most powerful prayer. When, oh when, oh when, when, oh when. This longing. Developing a mood of longing. So he did that for us. He gave so many. He thought of us, actually. And yeah, it's like you were saying earlier, it's a channel. It's a channel, so he thought of us, he conceived of us, and then Srila Prabhupada also taught us how to pray, sweeping the courtyard and praying, calling out. So I'm praying to Srila Gurudev. I don't have any realization of anything I just said. It's beyond. I can't possibly even conceive of the glories of Rupa Goswami. It's an endless ocean. But Gurudev loved him and was connected to him, and I could feel that in his presence so viscerally and strong, and that gives some curiosity to know who he is and have a relationship with him one day. So I'm praying to Srila Gurudev, please Gurudev, please give something, on these days we have an opportunity to build a relationship with these personalities, so please give some sincere desire in our hearts as we remember Srila Rupa Goswami. Some actual, practical, real feeling of what that feels like, this one. That he's our pran. I love that. I love that so much. I'm going to have to use that. That was just the best thing. yeah, we need that relationship to go on. So Srila Rupa Goswami ki Jai, Sri Goswami ki Jai, Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Guru Parampara ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Vaishnav Thakur ki Jai, Madhuri Kunja ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.